Hey guys, how's it going? Brandon here, welcome you back to another Pokemon Team Builder. Today guys, we are doing Generation 3 Ruby Sapphire Emerald and the starter of Torchic, Combusken and Blaziken. But today I am not alone, I have my good friend Alex or Onesie Banette with me.
How's it going guys? My name is Onesie Banette and thank you Brandon for having me on here. He told me he was doing Blaziken. I love Blaziken. Simple. Heh.
You're welcome, Alex. Now, before this video begins, probably a quick disclaimer for you guys. Now, when it comes to a team builder, I say this every time, but if you want to change anything about this team, like anything at all, Pokemon, movesets, natures, anything like that, by all means, go on ahead. It is your team that you're going to be playing through Gen 3 with, so by all means, change it. And another thing we want to stress is that because it's Gen 3, it's the special and physical split is based off types. It hasn't really happened yet, but we'll get more into that about certain mons as we go into it. But let's get on with this first mon. Starting off the team, you guys, of course, we need our starter, our base, which is, of course, Blaziken, firefighting, a really strong Pokemon. You get a Torchic, obviously, from first back at the beginning of the game. Evolves into Combusken at level 16, then Blaziken at 36. Our moveset, we've got Return, Aerial Ace, Brick Break, Fire Punch, Quirky or Neutral Nature. I'll just click Quirky because it's the one I had on my Blaziken. With the moveset, you have Physical and Special in there. It's got great all-round stats. You look for the stats, there's no reds in there. All-round great, HP 80, base 120 attack. So that definitely that Brick Break and Aerial Ace and Return, should I say, are going to do great damage. Decent defenses-ish, they're very average. That special attack, of course, is still there for the Fire Punch or the Fire. And it's got good base speed.
Next up guys, we have Ludicolo, and Ludicolo always seems to be a very good Pokemon to have in Ruby Sapphire and Emerald teams because it has incredible coverage with its stab moves. Unfortunately, to get a Ludicolo in Ruby Sapphire and Emerald, it's a bit of a pain because the first place you can actually manage to get a Water Stone is in the abandoned ship, and you have to get it using Dive, which means that you have to have a Lombre for long periods of the game. But Lombre still puts in a decent amount of work because it's still a water and grass type Pokemon, and the stab moves it does get still do a lot of damage to a lot of the Pokemon and a lot of the gyms and trainers around the game. So the moveset we've gone here with is Surf, Giga Drain, Ice Beam and Rain Dance. Now Surf and Giga Drain, just stab moves are so ridiculously good because they just destroy a lot of the gyms in the game, and especially the late game gyms such as Tate and Liza. They usually have a Solrock and a Lunatone which are weak to both. But then in Emerald they added a Claydol and a Xatu, which just get completely decimated by Ice Beam, Surf and Giga Drain anyway. So, and then we also have Rain Dance there because it has two abilities in Rain Dish and Swift Swim. And if you can get a Rain Dance up with Swift Swim, you're going to be doing a lot of damage with Surfs that are Rain boosted, and they activate your ability, making you faster than everything on the field anyway. It's just a very good setup Rain Dance sweeper. We've gone with Modest Nature because even though Ludicolo does have a decent base 90 special attack, it's still not the strongest thing in the game. Not necessarily taking anything away from it because it has a very good special defense and decent HP to back that up so it can take hits. And with Giga Drain you're going to be recovering some of the HP that you're taking anyway, but you want to be dealing as much damage with your Ludicolo and its stab moves, so Modest just seems like a natural choice here. So yeah.
Pokemon number 3, you guys, of the team, we have God of War. Now, a very popular Pokemon in Gen 3. I'd say one of the most popular Pokemon coming out of Gen 3. If we look through the moveset, we have Carmine, Shadow Ball, Shockwave, and Psychic. A very diverse moveset. Carmine is definitely a great thing to have, upping that special defense and special attack. If we take a look down at the stats, you can see that those are already in the green and very high. Shockwave, just for some coverage to hit anything you need to do. Now Shadow Ball unfortunately is physical in the game, but it's still there for coverage, and you know, base 65 attack, it's there, but the coverage is nice and I like to have it. Obviously Stab, Psychic is there as well. Now with the natures, I've gone Modest / Timid. It's personal preference for this one. With in-game teams, like depending on levels, because you're not all based on one level, like we're all level 50 or you're level 100, you tend to outspeed most of the time anyway. So I've gone with, I normally go with Modest myself, but you can go with Timid if you just feel a bit more like you need it to be a bit more quicker. It's still base 80 speed, so don't get me wrong, it's going to outspeed some things, but it's already got base 1, 2, 5 special attack. So adding even more to that, it's going to kill things so quickly. Obviously you get a Rolt in Route 102, very rare, so take your time, trust me, it's worth it. It evolves into Curly at level 20, then fully into Gardevoir at level 30. It's the third mon on the team, and a very good team member, so I recommend you guys use it.
Next up, guys, we have Agron, and with a defense stat of 180, you're not going to be taken down by a lot of moves. But Agron is here because it has some incredibly hard-hitting moves and a great defense stat, and the steel and rock typing is incredibly valuable when fighting a lot of the normal types and the flying types. So if you can get yourself an Agron and evolve it into a Lairon by the time you get to Winona, her gym is not going to be too tough at all. You'll be able to just destroy the whole thing with Rock Tomb, and it will just be incredibly useful. Now, Agron's stats, while there are a lot of weaknesses on the special side, like it doesn't take special hits very well, it still has a great defense stat of 180, and its typing means that types like normal, flying, bug, other rock types aren't going to be doing too much to you, and you can pretty much just tank your way through them. Now, the moveset we've gone for this guy is Iron Tail, Double Edge, Earthquake, and Rock Tomb. Now, we've decided to go with Rock Tomb over Rock Slide because Rock Slide is not available until you've actually finished the game. And Rock Tomb is very useful because it also lowers the opponent's speed. And if you look at Agron's speed, it only has a base 50. So getting a speed lower can allow Agron to outspeed and then potentially KO with hard-hitting stab moves such as Iron Tail and the obvious Earthquake and Double Edge. Agron is very useful for certain types later on in the game. It actually does a lot of work against Tate and Liza as well, because their Lunatone and Solrock aren't able to do a lot of damage to an Agron, and Agron is able to one-shot them both back with Iron Tail. Now, the only drawback I can see is that a lot of the late game is water, and you're going to want to try and keep your Agron away from water routes because it just doesn't take water well at all, being a special move in this generation. Water-type moves are, and its special defense is not the greatest, but if you can keep Agron away from water and use its strengths absolutely perfectly, then Agron will become a very, very important part of your team. Now, given that a lot of the late game is water, and we have two Pokemon so far that are very susceptible to water moves, we needed to try and find a way to deal with that as efficiently as possible. How do you deal with water? You get an electric type with Stab, Thunder, and Thunderbolt, and you destroy the hell out of them. Now, Manectric is certainly one of those. With a special attack stat of 105 and a speed stat of 105, you're going to outspeed the majority of the water types in Hoenn, in Ruby Sapphire and Emerald, because a lot of them don't have higher than a base 100 speed stat, and Manectric is able to just deal insane amount of damage to them very quickly with Thunderbolt, Thunder, and it's able to paralyze things with Thunder Wave. And the only other move really that Manectric learns that's not hidden power, that's special and can actually do things, is Bite, because it works really well. It enables Manectric to hit stuff like Claydol, which would otherwise resist your moves super effectively, and Manectric just deals a lot of damage. So being a pure electric type, it's available very early on in the game. I think just before the third gym, you can find it on the route below Cycling Road, and it's able to deal so much damage to a lot of the water types around the region, since the region's plagued with Wingulls everywhere, and when you're surfing you've got all those tentacles and whalers trying to steal your soul. So we've gone with a modest nature on Manectric because obviously when you have a base 105 speed in game, it's not going to matter too much about EVs and IVs and all of that stuff. All you want to do is be able to hit hard very quick and be able to deal damage to things that resist you. And Modest allows you to do that because it gives you a 10% boost to all of that good stuff. So, yeah, Manectric is an absolute god.
Moving on to the final member of the team. Now, I told Alex I had to do this Pokemon. As you can see, it's my man. It's my boy Salamence. Now, before we get into this, I have to say, if you guys want to choose Flygon or Altaria, by all means go for it. The reason Salamence is here, for me, is because he's a monster, and he's my favourite Mon, and it has to be done. For me, it has to be done. You have to use this absolute beast of a Pokemon. Yes, you can't get it till after the 8th gym. Yes, it's a pain in the ass to train up, but look at the end result. Look at those stats. Look at that moveset, and tell me you didn't just choose your pants. Now, let's move on to this. Moveset, Dragon Claw, Fly, Fire Blast, and Hyper Beam. Dragon Claw, special. Fly, physical. Fire Blast, special. Hyper Beam, physical. So it's mixed. But the reason I've gone with the modest nature and not a neutral nature is simply because it will lower the attack slightly, which is already base 135, so that's already super high. But it will up the special attack, so they're kind of on par. There's maybe a slight, I think attack will still be higher, just about. But it evens them out to get it perfectly balanced for a great Salamence. Obviously, Dragon being special in the generation as well, you're going to want that up special attack, that stab. Yes, it's lowering fly, but you're probably going to be using Dragon Claw more than fly anyway. It's got base 100 speed, so it's still quick. Base 100 speed is going to outspeed a lot of things. It's got decent HP and defenses. Base 95 HP, that's a lot of HP. And base 80 defenses on both sides, it's going to be up a hit. It's a dragon type, it's great. You get a bag on, obviously in that one room from Meteor Falls. If you're watching the video right now, it should actually be getting to that one room, so if you need to follow that, by all means. You get a Shelgon at level 30, which you should get quite quickly because the bag-ons are, I think, either late 20, you can get really late 20s bag-on. I think in even Alpha and Sapphire, you can get like a level 30 bag-on, so you can get a Shelgon straight away. And then Salamence at that powerful level 50. But there's not really much else to say about Salamence. He's an absolute monster. I love him. He's my favourite mon. He's the 6th team member of this team. Alright guys, I'd like to thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this team builder, definitely make sure you smash that like button for me. If you did any changes to the team in any way, definitely make sure to let me down in the comments of what team you would use using Blaziken. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also check out Alex in the description. Also like to thank Alex for joining me.
Thanks very much for having me, Brandon. It's been an absolute pleasure, my friend.
Pleasure's been all mine, mate. Definitely make sure you check them out in the description, guys, like I said already, and comment what team you would like to see next. But until next time, I'll see you guys next time. Peace!